The fallout is growing from the Supreme Court's monumental decisions last week. The court banned affirmative action in higher education and rolled back protections for LGBTQ rights. It also struck down President Biden's plan to cancel student debt for an estimated 20 million Americans. The president says he's now committed to a new approach. CBS News' Skyler Henry is there on the front lawn of the White House. Skyler, good to see you. Good morning.
Hey, Ed, good morning. Good to see you as well. Well, just hours after the Supreme Court's decision, the president announced he plans to pursue a new plan to take on student loan forgiveness under the Higher Education Act. It's something progressives have called for as the political fight over the court intensifies.
These are the types of rulings that signal a dangerous creep towards authoritarianism.
Cancel student debt!
Progressives taking aim at the Supreme Court on Sunday and calling for the Biden administration to forgive some student loans and freeze interest payments.
When people out there are saying that they are relying on this, we should at least pause it until that is forgiven.
Just hours after the Supreme Court struck down his student loan forgiveness program proposed under pandemic emergency powers, the president vowed to take action by using the Higher Education Act.
This new path is legally sound. It's going to take longer, but in my view, it's the best path that remains to providing for as many borrowers as possible with debt relief.
Borrowers like Rob Novickas, who owes roughly $50,000 in student loan debt.
It's frustrating. You know, I have my daughter, we have a mortgage, credit card debt. So to know that in another month or two, I'm going to have an additional $500 to pay, it's tough.
But Republican presidential candidates this weekend pushed back on the criticism of the court.
When the court makes decisions that they don't like, all of a sudden the court is, a not normal court, according to President Biden.
And widely hailed the Supreme Court's ruling to strike down affirmative action in college admissions.
There may have been a time when affirmative action was necessary, simply to open the doors of all of our schools and universities. But I think that time has passed.
And in another 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court sided with a Christian graphic artist who opposes making custom wedding websites for same-sex couples, widely viewed as a blow to LGBTQ protections. Ed.
Skyler Henry, thank you. Good to see you. Guys, President Biden was kind of dragged into this kicking and screaming because he had said he had concerns about whether the student loan program as set up, the forgiveness plan, was going to be legally sound. And now, of course, the court's thrown it out. They got to try again. But they have to come up with something because this was promised to Democratic base voters, young voters, working class people. And they understand they got to at least demonstrate that they're still doing something, at least through the next election.
Well, we asked Secretary Cardona last week, if you think this was the better, more legally sound route, why didn't you do it this way in the first place? And they said because it takes so much longer. They essentially have to write out the law before they can even try to implement it, and then it could end up right back at the same Supreme Court again.